what about our teacher? He's a pioneer. They call him the noble monk who went to the West, 吕美高僧. He was a pilgrim. He traveled from China to Hong Kong in 1949. Just got out before the curtain fell, you know. And then where did he go? Hong Kong for 10 years. He went to Australia for a year. We discovered, we met an elder who knew Master Hua in 1961 and 62 in Australia. Things didn't work out, so he came back to Hong Kong, then set off for America, and he arrived in 1962. And we have been talking now because our teacher has entered Nirvana for 20 years now. This year was the 20th observance of his passing. And we talk about his 4 great legacies, right? Which is setting up the Sangha, and then explaining texts, and then propagating education, and then doing interfaith. We talk about those. I think the last visit we talked about those ideas. But one thing that I wanted to share with everybody that I think is really important for understanding how our teacher actually taught is his work as a reformer of the Buddha Dharma. Now, to reform something, you form it again. You give it a new form. You change the existing form. And Shifu did that. He did that. He said many, many times, he said, I want you all to recognize that what I am teaching you is not Chinese Buddhism, he said. So we all went, why not? And he would say, well, what I am teaching you is not Indian Buddhism. And we would, you know, what are we learning, Shifu? You know. So what was he teaching us in the end? So think about it. Buddhism started in India and it traveled south, right? Sri Lanka first, Ceylon, then over to the countries of Southeast Asia, Thailand, Burma, Cambodia, Laos, including Malaysia, right? And parts of Vietnam. Then it went east to China, then Korea, then Japan, and Vietnam. That was the Mahayana, right? Then it went north to Mongolia, Nepal, Tibet. Okay, so those are the 3 directions that Buddhism spread historically. But every time it left one culture and went to the next one, it changed. It changed. And it also was changed by the new culture that it met. So Buddhism had this function historically. It adapted. Now, what adapted? What was planted in the new culture that put down roots, produced shoots, sprouts, leaves, flowers, and fruits, and became the new Buddhism? That's what Shifu meant when he said, I am not teaching you Chinese Buddhism. Get this straight. He gave us the essence of the Dharma that when planted down in the culture, not so much of North America, but I think in the culture of the 20th and 21st centuries, that's the Dharma that we got from our teacher. What was that Dharma? Let me translate and we'll come back. You think about it and I'll be right back and we'll look into it, okay? 好了，我们都说吕美高僧玄花上人哈，有这个名称。师父呢，他到底是什么样的法师啊？他是一个 pioneer 开荒的，他是第一代中国法师从东北 然后呢，1949年就到香港，他是最后离开大陆，然后不能出来。然后呢，上人10年在香港10年在香港。1961年去哪里呢 ？Straya, S-T-R-A-Y-A, Straya. That's how you spell it, right? You ask my Australian friends, Straya, S-T-R-A-Y-A, right? Never mind the os, drop the os, Straya. 上人就去 Straya, right? 1961年，可是呢，时间久了，好像碰到一些困难，就回来香港那个困难，我们最近才知道，有一位老人他告诉我们，他当场就看到师父，1961年，师父到了 Australia， 看到那边的情形。你说做那个 Pilgrim， 那个开荒 Pioneer 容易不容易？不容易，不容易。结果呢，师父回来香港，就到了美国，1962年。那么中国历史就说，说错了，佛教的历史来讲呢，每一次从印度或者到南部，就说西兰、缅甸、柬埔寨、那个暹罗，他们泰国然后呢，又从印度到中国、韩国、日本、越南然后从印度就往北边，蒙古、尼泊尔、那个西藏每一次就跳到新的文化、新的大陆、新的语言，它就改变了，它变成当地的佛教，同时呢，它也改变当地的文化、语言、思想等等。所以呢，佛法就是这种的，已经2600年，到了现代的西方也是一样的。上人就说：“你们要认清楚，我传给你们并不是中国佛教。”常常这么说，你们认清楚。他说：“我传给你们，我带来的并不是中国佛教。”他说，那我们都说是什么佛教，师父？他说：“你们认清楚，我传给你们并不是印度佛教。”哇，又睁开眼睛，那是什么佛教，师父？那么上人他就把这个不能再 reduction， 不能 reduce further 那些精华，那个核心的佛教的真理、做人的道理就种到西方这个陆地，慢慢的就像从印度往南边、东边、北边这个过程一样的。那今天想跟各位介绍那些 essences， 那些种子，那些苗现在我们懂得那个了，我们都比较清楚佛教在21世纪会变成怎么样的佛教。Okay, now I'm going to leave you hanging for 1 minute, because why? We are going to ask everybody, please, to send us some questions. We're going to save some time for Q&A, but how are you going to let us know about your Q so we can give you the A? How are you going to do that? We're going to ask you, please, to write down on a piece of paper, and you have to use your best handwriting, okay? If you write in Chinese and you write 草书 we can't read 草书. If you write 行书, we have a hard time. So please write 方块字, all right? Or ABC. Write down your question. We're going to invite our 金刚护法 to collect those questions and bring them up to us. And as many as we have time for, we will answer. Maybe not every single question will get an answer, but we're going to try our best.